Today, we are going to cover the modern property investing strategies that smart property investors are using to scale. So the typical tools that people use within the real estate space to scale taking advantage of AI and different automation platforms. So we'll look through some of these things and the different solutions that you can apply within your business, or different solutions that you can adopt as we go through today's session. Let me see. Okay, so someone's joined on LinkedIn. Okay, that's really good. All right, let's get started. So what AI agents can do for your portfolio. Now, what are agents? Agents are essentially bits of software that can go off and complete tasks on your behalf. So what are the things that you typically do within your organization that you think a computer can do for you, or you think a computer cannot do? But in actual fact, if we use the right agent, it could go off and do those things for you. So typical things would be like searching for new deals on platforms like Rightmove and Zoopla, phoning estate agents to book appointments. You can use agents to collate all of the information from different portals and then come up with one final report that would give you either a green, amber, or red on any particular opportunity. So you can use AI agents for this. Now, these integrations or those type of solutions would involve integrations with different types of tools. And we'll look at some of those today, and we'll look at some real examples that we've built for some of our clients that you can adopt for your organization. So we're not just going to tell you about what's possible. We're going to tell you how it's possible and the things that some other investors are using in their businesses. So the reality is there are many things hitting the typical investor right now. In the UK, you've got the fire risk policies and the compliance requirements. You've got Section 21 that's about to be changed or not changed. We don't know how far it's going to go. We've got the rental, the renter's rights, and all these compliance issues exist. You've got the EPC default levels changing, what you can rent, what you cannot rent. All these compliance requirements are things you need to bear in your mind. You've got the regulations that are changing, you've got the tax situation that is changing, and you need to factor all of these in when you're trying to appraise a property or appraise an opportunity. And these are things that are time consuming. Typically, if you're doing many appraisals, or if you're a property sourcer, you'd want to get a VA to assist you because there's only so many you can do. This is where AI comes in and can help you. So what's an AI agent? So an AI agent is not really a robot, it's code. So it's software that you program and you release it on whatever rules that you want it to use to make decisions. Now, the reason it's an AI agent is because there's intelligence there. It's able to recognize the information and come to certain decisions without you pre-telling it what those decisions are. So based on the information it already has and the large language models, it's able to reason out what a person of reasonable ability would be able to come to, so any kind of decisions. So that's what your AI agents will be doing. So they're different from automation, which you set the rules and it follows the rules every single time. With agents, they're able to reason, they're able to think, and that's why they're considered intelligent. So you can tell it that if a deal matches a certain set of criteria, that it should make a decision, either send it into your CRM or send an email to somebody. And there are different types of tools that you can use for this type of use case. So AI just essentially becomes something that's sat in the background making decisions on your behalf, and the rules or the parameters around those rules are things that you define. They could be prompts that you define depending on the AI solution you're using. You can tell it where to move data from, where to pull data information from, and different tools to trigger as a result of information that is received. So if it's making those decisions without you pre-programming in those decisions, then you can know, you can tell that that's something that you'd say is an agent, an AI agent. So you can connect different types of data sources. Typically, a lot of investors use spreadsheets. A lot of investors use different CRMs and have different property sources providing leads to them. With the right setup, you're able to take information from every kind of source, and you're able to process all of that information using the exact same set of criteria, and then with that you're effectively comparing like for like when you're making investment decisions, regardless of the part of the country where the property is located. So think about how you can connect the different aspects of your business and use the decisions and information from those different aspects to come to a conclusion. So as an example, let's say you've got when you receive a lead, and if it's a development lead, you'd want your planning consultant to go through the lead and the potential different strategies you're thinking of applying. Then you also send it to a lawyer to have a look. Your solicitor has a look and reviews the legal pack or the legal anything legal to do with your property. And then you have maybe a broker. So sending that information to 3 different people is fairly easy if you're just doing one property. But if you're doing 15, if you're doing 25, and you're getting from so many different sources, you can, to begin with, have AI review the legal pack. You can have AI look at some of the deal sources that exist and funding sources that exist, and then tell you if it's worth sending it on to a human. So you have an added layer of pre-checks so that you don't send everything to your lawyer, especially if you're paying for every single check that they perform. So you can bring a bit more intelligence closer to home, and as time goes on, you could probably become more confident and rely on the AI to determine what you should invest in and what you shouldn't invest in. And that technology already exists. So I mentioned WhatsApp here because WhatsApp is also a fantastic source of connecting directly with your people that supply your business with anything. It could be suppliers, vendors, it could be property sourcers, it could be estate agents. And what you can do with WhatsApp is you can tie WhatsApp to your AI backend or any knowledge base through tools like ManyChat and Flowbridge. So that's one example. So let's go a bit deeper into what property investors are doing now. So as an example, you can have an AI agent that helps you with deal sourcing, and you can specify what the criteria for any deal would be. And let's, for example, say you specify that you want 8% yield, you want a 2-bed minimum, and you want it within 10 miles of Manchester. That's the scenario that we're discussing here. Now, what you do is you set up a workflow of different AI tools. One would sit there monitoring Rightmove and Zoopla and any other website that provides properties, and the other would sit there waiting for the monitor tool to then discover any properties that have been flagged. So firstly, we'll probably check if it's within 10 miles. If it's within 10 miles, we'll check if it's minimum of 2 beds, and then it will pass that information to a GPT that will look at the figures. And with that, what that GPT will do is find the rental information in that area, the yield value based on the price that's been marketed for that property. And one of the tools that we provide, Valap, would actually tell you the figure that you need to offer for you to meet the criteria of your 8% yield. So that's the other way of looking at it, which is, okay, rather than, all right, this is my asking price, this is the rental value, okay, the yield is X, it will tell you, actually, this is the rental amount and your yield is X, so your asking price or your offer price should be Y. So it tells you, it empowers you in terms of making your offer and negotiating with the vendor and through the estate agent. So you can pull all of that information and tie them to a spreadsheet or put them into your CRM, or you can send a message to a WhatsApp group or a Slack group. All of these things are part of what you can build autonomously, and it will just sit there running in the background. So once it's built, it runs autonomously. And there are tools that do this. One of the tools that I would suggest is Make. Some people use Zapier, but Make is a lot cheaper, a lot easier to use, and is just as reliable as any other tool there. And you can use other free tools. Make gives you some free usage every month. So everything I've just mentioned can be potentially done free of charge in terms of operating the entire agent. So what about tenant screening? Let's say you're an estate agent or you're a landlord that manages their own properties themselves. You place an ad. You could place an ad on Spare Rooms or one of those websites, and you get many inquiries. Now, how could you possibly review every single person and be objective? The best way is to use some software tool to do that, and the best software to do that right now is an AI solution. These AI tools would not only look at the applicant, it can consider many other things in addition to the information that the applicant has provided. So if you have access to their social media, you can pull that in. If you look at their income, their profile, any questions that they would ask, or if you have any questions you want to ask them before they submit an application, you can build all of that into some level of automation, and the automation will then take in that information, share it with a large language model, let's say something like ChatGPT, the API version. And OpenAI doesn't train its LLM with information they pass through its API based on its contract, so the privacy is maintained. And then based on a scoring system that you can come up with, and AI can help you come up with a scoring system that's workable and fair. Based on that, you can then determine who to go for next. So what it's done is it's saved you time. It's helped you pre-categorize the agents, the tenants, and it helps you focus on the ones that are most likely to occupy your property and be good tenants based on the rules that you give it. So typical things that you'd build together in that workflow that I've mentioned would be something like Zapier or Make, coupled with ChatGPT. Calendly has a role here because the tenant will probably want to book an appointment to do a viewing. You can add that in, and then you can tie that into Google Drive, which is where you'd save or store the information that the tenant has shared with you. And if you have a CRM, you can also update it in that workflow. So why this works for property is that roles that you typically have somebody perform for you, firstly, you'd have to train somebody to understand some of the nuances when it comes to renting properties and the type of rents you demand and what your property is all about and the area. But if you've got AI properly configured, it can do all of that initial check and all of that initial evaluation before any human being gets involved. It then means that you can serve a lot more tenants. You can sift through a lot more applications before you make a final decision. So the process works because it's a well-worn process. It is stuff that has been used to train AI in the past, so they know how tenants work. They know how to rent to tenants in the UK market, and the AI large language models have been trained on many of the books that have been written in the past. So they understand some of the requirements and the criteria that most good landlords would want or expect their tenants to fulfill in order to be considered good fit. So AI helps you with judging and assessing every application, and if you have a big pool of tenants from whom to select, then obviously it works swimmingly for the landlord and works good for the tenant as well, because the tenant can ask pre-questions before they even submit their application. So it works both ways. So on this slide, we'll look at what people see happening and what's actually happening when it comes to the back end. Because the whole point is, as a landlord or as a property investor, you don't really want to be configuring AI and building all of these things unless you have a special interest in it. The thing you really want to be doing is investing in properties. And the other thing you really want to be doing is not wasting your time going to viewings that are just unimportant or do not meet your criteria. So all you have to do is define clearly what it is that you want and have a solution built for you, or you can build one yourself. So typically what you'd see would be leads suddenly appearing in your inbox. What are those leads? You would know that if they've been through your workflows or your automation, they've already been pre-categorized and pre-selected. So How that would work is you'd have something like Make or Zapier in the background monitoring your inbox or monitoring Zoopla and Rightmove. When it finds something, information, it passes it through AI, a large language model, and then the information coming out of the large language model will determine whether you see the email or not. So it can categorize your emails automatically. The other thing you might see once it's built for you is a WhatsApp alert about a deal. How does that happen? Well, you don't need humans involved in any of that. It just depends on what you configure. So if you use something like Make, that goes off, looks at different portals. So Rightmove and Zoopla are not the only ones. There are others on the market and some other more niche websites. It filters through everything there and then selects the ones that would actually meet your investment criteria. So all you see is just a message pop up, but in the background you have other things working. So what I'd like you to do is think about investment and think about yourself as a property investor, where your job is to do the investments, to make the final decision, but you have things in the background doing all of the mundane tasks that you really don't want to be completing. If you work with a lot of property sourcers, you can have them submit the deals that they find to a particular website or a particular Google sheet, and AI would pick up that information and determine if that deal is worth looking at. The other thing you might want as a property investor is your bookings, calendar bookings. So what does that mean? So they're booking viewings for you, and they're booking viewings for deals that you are interested in. So you see that deal that came into your WhatsApp, it's just a case of responding to that WhatsApp or pressing a button on your WhatsApp, and suddenly a calendar appointment is booked for you. So all of this can be done automatically. And if you have teams that do your viewings for you, everything can also be synced up with their calendars so that viewings are automatically put in their calendar. If there's any journey time between where they live and where the property is, that can be factored in. You can also have automatic the AI agent automatically phone the estate agent to book this appointment. So this is something that we've built in the past. So the key is that the complexity is hidden behind the scenes, but as a modern property investor, you need to be looking at your workflows and your processes to determine what is actually adding value to you. Look for areas where you can bring in software, have it built for you, and it just sits there in the background processing all of your inputs. So the result is you have more time to actually make decisions and work on your business. You make better decisions because things are compared not emotionally, but based on the criteria that you have specified. So if it's your investment criteria, your property selection criteria, your property sourcing criteria, you can put all of these things into different agents, into a workflow, and what comes out at the end is the results that you are looking for. So you want more bookings, more viewings. If you've got property to rent, you want more tenants, more tenant candidates so that you can pick the best. And you'd want to use software to help you attract those tenants and attract those people. If you've got a property for sale, if it's an empty property that's unfurnished, you can use AI to actually stage the property so that the people who are purchasing can have an idea as to what the opportunity is. So you just keep growing, not burning out. You have systems working for you, and that's what AI is there for. So different ways that other investors are using AI right now. Rather than have VAs that you're paying X amount of money and you have to train each time one leaves, you have to go through that process of training them up. Yes, you've got documents. Yes, you've got SOPs, but these VAs have to read those SOPs and understand those SOPs. Now, what you can now do is have AI read those SOPs, and you know that they would interpret those SOPs based on the information in them, and they can carry on processing your calls. They can process any inquiries that you receive. And in addition, you can have a chatbot that responds based on the information that you've put within your SOP. So you want to get to a stage where your appointments are booked for you on your behalf. There are tools that look at your calendar and sync things up with your personal calendar if you expose them, and make sure that you have bookings or viewings for the times that you are available. And you want AI to act as a filter for 90% or 95% of the deals, because most times those things that get sent to us as investors are not real deals. They're just things that maybe the sourcer has miscalculated or do not meet your investment criteria. So you want to secure your time, save your time, and save your thinking ability. So what are you to do with everything I've just said? Now, if you are listening to this and you're watching, you've probably come on because you want to be the modern investor. You want to see what's available, what's possible. Now, the first thing to do is go through your business, go through your workflows, and figure out the things that you do repeatedly. Figure out the things that waste your time or consume a lot of your time, and figure out the things that are mundane and you wouldn't wish for anyone else to be doing because it just takes too much time. Then those things, make a note, and then when you're ready, you can use the tools that I've mentioned here. I've not mentioned any more than 5 different tools since I've been speaking tonight. Look at Make. Make is for automating your workflow. So when you go into make.com, you just click, you create something called a scenario, and then you pull modules, and those modules are the units that perform actions for you. So those modules are not all agents, they're things that complete tasks. So you could say, all right, I want this module to just scrape Rightmove, and I want another module to scrape Zoopla, pull back this information. Then you want another module to complete a calculation on your behalf to determine if it's a deal or not a deal, and then only then determine if you want to phone the agent or you just want to ignore and just move on to the next thing, the next opportunity. So you've got scrapers, you've got Make, which is a tool that hosts all of those scrapers, and then you can have a Google Sheet at the end where the deals that work will get passed into and saved, and then you can get sent a WhatsApp message or a text message, and then that's it. You can also have something monitoring your emails through Make. There's a module that monitors emails and creates categories based on the information that it receives. So you don't have to do all of the building yourself, but if you are inclined to, these are the tools that current investors are using. So if you're interested in any of the things that I've spoken about here, do feel free to reach out. There is a free resource that we can share with you, a blueprint that I can share with you. And this blueprint is one where we built to demonstrate how you can get Make to review your emails, and based on the content and the context of each email would save the information to a relevant endpoint. So as an example, it monitors your email. It sees that a tenant has emailed to say there's a problem with their property. With that email, we're able to, using Make, pass it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT categorizes it as a tenant issue, and then because it's a tenant issue, it passes it through a different workflow, and that workflow will be a workflow that extracts the tenant's name, the address, the issue itself, and then it creates a task within something like ClickUp, or it could be any tool you're using, and then routes it to the relevant supplier or handyman that will fix that problem. So that's just one workflow that we've built in the past, and something that I can share with you if you're interested. So reach out if that's something that will be of use. Other things that you can look at would be like a return on investment calculator, a really quick one that you can build into Google Sheet, or if you want something automated, you can build your chatbot, or you can build a chatbot that will take certain crucial bits of information and then feedback what the return on investment is likely to be. There are other tools out there, obviously, but if you want your own tool that might be cheaper for you to manage or would do a lot more volume, then that's something you want to look at. So if you want to put in a chatbot that's tied to Google Sheet, you want to look at chatbots or chatbot platforms like VoiceFlow. That's a really good one to make a start with. Then there's some other suggested tools that I can bring in as well at this point. Things like Calendly, Google Calendar, or your own personal calendar. Tying all those things in an automated fashion, it would save you a whole lot of time and make sure that your calendars are all synced so you're not double booked, and would be useful for your estate agents and for tenants that are interested in any properties that you're marketing. So my final thoughts on this would be, if it's a repetitive task and it has rules, then it definitely can be automated. It doesn't matter whether it's a website that has JavaScript or that has interesting things moving all over the page. They can be automated. There are now web scrapers that can do all of this for you within seconds. If it needs judgment, then that's where AI comes in. So the automation is different from AI. AI is where there's some reasoning that's required, and that's where we plug into things like ChatGPT and some other alternatives. Now, the main thing is, if you want your freedom, then think about automation. Think about pulling in AI. Don't be afraid of it. Just reach out to people who know what they're doing, ask questions, and just get started on that journey. It could be just one thing that you automate that saves you time, and then you add a second, then a third as you get more comfortable. But there are people using this as we speak. There are people scraping websites 24/7 looking for deals, whereas you just sit there when you have the time to spend an hour or two going through one portal or another. There are people who are scraping all of the properties on all of the portals just to find that one deal, because that one deal pays for itself. So start small and then start to grow and make progress. So if there's anything you need, if you need something explaining to you, or you're struggling to come up with the workflows that you want to automate, do reach out to us. I'm happy to share and help you with your requirements. So that's all we have for now, unless we've got any questions. I don't see anything in the Zoom chat. And I don't see anything on LinkedIn. If you've got any questions, just pass them in now. Yeah, I don't see any questions. So on that note, thank you for joining me tonight. And this is